thing. Didn't do as much with the cattle. That was more for Dad and the boys to do.
Okay.
And I also helped, as I got older, work out in the field on the farm, driving the tractors and disking and coal mulching and that sort of thing, and helping build fence.
Okay, well, some other community activities, church, other kinds of community things.
Right, very active in church. Grew up in a fairly small church, Concordia Lutheran Church, just on the south edge of Marshall, which is now closed. But our kids also grew up in that church until they got a little bit older. We've always been a 4-H family, which is where I work today. I'm in charge of the 4-H program here for the county. So that was a big thing for both my husband and I. We both enjoy 4-H, and our kids did too.
Okay. Well, let's talk about school. Where did you go to school?
Went to school through Marshall Schools from beginning to end. Just like the small communities and the nice. We've got a great school system. I also drive a school bus, so I kind of like this school system.
Well, what are some of your special school memories?
Oh gosh, we are involved in several bands, so I would say one of my favorite memories was being involved with the high school, the junior high, the high school bands of all kinds, marching band, jazz band, that sort of thing. And I was involved with FFA, Home Ec Club, all of those things.
Okay,
so.
good. Let's talk about, again, growing up in the family. You said you had several brothers.
Mm-hmm. 2 brothers and a sister. Mm-hmm.
And a sister. What were some of the family things you did? Did you play games? Did you go places? What were some of your family activities?
Well, we like to do our summer camping trips. We used to have a big old tent that we kind of evolved from a tent to a pop-up camper, and after we all left home, Mom and Dad got a motorhome. They got fancy on us. So that was a really fun summertime activity, is to go camping various places. It was really great.
What are some of yours is a question that everybody always likes. What are some of your memories about meals and food? Did you have special meals?
You know, probably some of my most favorite meals were when Mom would and my sister and I would help make meals for the guys working in the field and taking them out and eating out in the field with everybody. I just love that. And of course, family get-togethers with all the cousins and at Grandma and Grandpa's house and the big meals there. That was always such a joy.
Okay. Did you have hobbies?
Yes, pretty much the same hobbies that I have today. My horses and riding.
Okay.
And playing in the bands.
Okay, okay. And then talk about when you got married.
Mm-hmm.
Where and when did you get married?
Well, we got married July 21st, 1979. I was just out of high school, and we actually got married here in Marshall at the Concordia Lutheran Church.
How did you meet?
Oh, gosh, in the band.
Okay.
I was in junior high, and I was in 8th grade, and he was a senior, and he used to come in and play with the junior high band, Dick did, and music pretty much carried us through. We've been best friends ever since.
Have you always lived in Marshall?
I have. Born and raised.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the different job, you've got a good job now. What jobs have you had?
Oh, during high school, I worked in the reception area down in the emergency room at the Court Medical Center. And then from there, I worked at the Marshall Independent newspaper, and for a few years, about probably 3 years or 4. And then I went to work for Dean Berkebile, Clark County Circuit Clerk at the courthouse, and worked for Dean for 15 years. And then I came here to the Extension office, Clark County Extension. I've been with University of Illinois for 17 years. And I've also driven a Marshall school bus for 25 years.
Well, what piqued your interest in this particular career?
Well, I love kids and I love 4-H. I kind of bleed green, so that's been a part of my life always.
Okay.
My mother was a 4-H'er as well, and my parents were very involved as volunteers too. with 4-H and have always enjoyed it, and that's we just kind of gravitate towards wherever the kids are. We enjoy those type of jobs.
Okay. Let's talk more generally. As you think about the history of your life, was there a person or event that made a major influence on your life?
I've had a few of those. I would say, when they talk about a favorite teacher, there's been so many through the years, so many times that's a common thing that people ask. And I think Truman Spittler was the ag teacher, and he made an impact on my life, as well as Jim Gwynn, band teacher. We both were very close with him and with Mr. Gwynn.
Okay. Again, as you think out over your lifetime, what historical events, maybe local or national or international, stand out in your mind?
Oh gosh, I really have to think on that one. I always think of 911. That 9/11 was a huge impact. Remember that so clearly. When the first trip to the moon.
Okay.
Those kind of things that really stand out in your mind.
Okay. Thinking over the history of your life, what modern conveniences do you think now affect your life the most?
Well, I'm sure telephones and computers. Sometimes I wish they weren't as convenient. I think life was much simpler without those things.
Okay. If you were talking to somebody who wasn't from Marshall about Marshall, how would you describe Marshall, and why would you tell them you live here?
I think it's a beautiful community. I think in general we're a pretty friendly community. Of course, they're having our tie with the Marshall City Band. It's so great to have our Friday night concerts and see those big crowds out there, and the organizations that put on the ice cream socials and the popcorn wagon from the Lions Club, and it's just such, that just kind of brings it together for us, I think, and kind of what Marshall means to me. And raising my kids here, it's been a great place for them to grow up, and they've stayed here and not wanted to leave either.
Well, thank you, Cartha. This is going to be really interesting information for